Welcome to another episode of One on One with Mitch Lafon. Joining me this week, our guest Troy Luccketta of Tesla, speaking about his new band Saville Row, and of course, what's going to go on with Tesla in 2015. And Erik Grönwall, who is the lead singer for Swedish band H.E.A.T. And joining me this week to talk about all of this is the one, the only Killer Dwarfs frontman Russell Dwarf.
How you doing, Mitch?
Good, good. Now, you have been a fan of Tesla for many years, and you've
Yep.
even been on a cruise with the Tesla boys. Tell me a little bit about the cruising with
I
Tesla.
I have. I've done two cruises with them. The Monsters of Rock cruise, which is a great 80s hair band cruise to go on. If anybody wants to try that for the first time or something, it's really cool. And Tesla is like always a big deal on that cruise, and they get to usually do. They have when you sail out of the harbor, it's usually Tesla playing, which is they're a great band, great fun band. I've been a huge fan since like '86, and I've got to meet them and stuff, and really enjoy them. Great band.
They really are. Would you qualify them as a hair metal band?
Well, their first album was in '86. You know what I mean? Like that term. You could be bald and still be a hair metal man. But
Yeah.
I would for sure. We all came out at that same time and everything. '86 was the first album, right? And they've been around since '82.
Yeah, they've been around forever. They used to be, I believe it was called Kid Wicked back in the day. But just
Sebastian's first band.
was that Sebastian's first? Wasn't that Madam X?
Well, I think he was in a band called VO5, and then a band called Kid Wicked here in Toronto, and then it was Madam X.
So I've got Sebastian on my mind. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Probably, yeah. It's just coming to you. A lot of that name seems to. A lot of people call their band that. How odd.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually think. Boy, what were they called back in the day? I guess it was. You know what? Not that it really matters to what we're doing here, because we're going to talk about his new project,
Yeah.
which is Saville Row. It's come to me. They were called City Kid.
Ah, right. Yes.
City Kid, Kid Wicked.
It's all the same, man.
Yeah, it's got city in the name. It's close enough.
And they're from California, Tesla,
Sacramento.
and Troy's like he's the original member.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's one of the great things about Tesla. Other than bringing in Dave Rude, it's been the same guys all this time from the early '80s till now. And the one thing that you notice with Tesla is that they have always been a band that delivers the goods. Not flashy,
No,
maybe not even an arena style band, but they've just always put out solid albums.
they have. Yep.
Working man hero, really.
Yep.
If we're going
Oh,
to start talking about a band's, a band's band, this is it.
absolutely. Great, solid tunes, solid, fun tunes that still stand up. Like I still listen to it, like as a fan and everything.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely. And so, with the downtime, and the band has Tesla has some downtime because lead singer Jeff Keith has undergone a medical procedure, which Troy talks about during the interview. So stay tuned and hear what's going on with Jeff. And so he's put together Saville Row, and yeah, just a solid album, the Saville Row. And so why don't we sit back and listen to Troy talk about the new project and what's coming up with Tesla in 2015. Here's Troy. We are speaking with Troy Luccketta of Tesla, and of course, a new project, Saville Row. Good day, sir.
How are you, my friend?
Good, good. Always a pleasure to speak with you. So much going on. Obviously, Tesla had Simplicity come out in the summer, and you've toured on that. But this afternoon, we're talking Saville Row, which you've put together with Mark Bonilla and Ryan Green also helped produce it. Tell me a little bit about that project.
Well, it's come together over the last few years. We've kind of been sitting on it. Mark and I have been working together for the better of 20 years. He has two solo records out, One was called Double Lead Ticket. It was an instrumental album on Warner Brothers Reprise. His second record was called American Matador, and I was fortunate enough to play on those records and build this relationship with Mark over the last 20 plus years. Mark does a lot of film and TV work,
Right.
and so we've been collaborating, like I said, for years. And I came across a friend of mine, and he turned me on to the singer Micah Greiner.
Right.
And Micah, we at first we were almost thinking about putting a band together for him and producing a record, but we kind of fell in love with the music, and we just thought, hey, we're going to be selfish here. We're going to do this ourselves, and that's really truly how we got together.
Let me ask you, you've always had these projects going on outside of Tesla. I mean, years and years and years ago, when you used to live out in Arizona, you had a Mexican singer, a girl that you were very enthusiastic about. You've done some stuff with Keith Emerson. What's the... Is there something that in Tesla that's missing, or you just always want to keep busy? What's going on with all the outside projects? Because to me, it's fantastic.
Well, it's not that there's something missing from Tesla. Tesla is truly one of the most beautiful things that's ever happened to me in my life. Looking back at it, 27, 8 years now, I just needed to be playing other music and music styles and continue with my education, so to speak.
Right.
And I always knew what my role and understood my role of Tesla. And sometimes when you're riding that line or that fence, you don't want to completely get over in your neighbor's yard. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I always wanted to stay in our yard with what we were doing, and always keep it about the music. The nice part about the other projects, it's enabled me to kind of turn into a chameleon at points. I did some R&B records. I did a Frida Payne record back in 2001. And I don't know if you remember her, but she's back from the Motown era, and you would never know I was on that record. It sounded like an R&B drummer. And it was just a session where I did a couple tracks for the record. But being called to do a session and then getting the call back, which I did, I went in with Lenny Williams, the old singer for Tower of Power, and did a track for it was for an HBO film release and soundtrack. And, so I just wanted to be able to branch out and cut it and not just get pigeonholed in just the rock world, so to speak. I love rock and roll music. It's my heart. It's my passion. It's everything, and it's who I am. But if I'm able to, which I was a couple of years ago, to play brushes on the Doris Day record, which is record called My Heart, came out a couple of years ago. I want to be able to do that, and I did. And so the Keith Emerson project just it takes a certain amount of education and understanding to play with the Philharmonic Orchestra, which we did, 70-piece orchestra on that particular record. So I guess for me, I just wanted to be able to do those kinds of things. It's not that there's something, again, missing from Tesla. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do what it is that lives and breathes inside of me on a natural level.
Right.
Some of these other things I do are not so natural, so I kind of have to work at it and get comfortable in different areas. So,
does that make you a better drummer?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. It makes me a better drummer. It makes me understand different music, different approaches, different dynamics, and keeps me well-rounded.
And of course, we can hear that on the playing on Tesla records too. Now let's go back to Saville Row. The album's called The Way Around It. What is the goal, the long-term goal? Is this sort of one and done, or is this a band where you're going to tour and you're going to do 3-4 albums? Sort of.
Well, I think what Mark and I and Micah and Travis, we all understand what it is. And what I mean by that is this is truly a band that we all love. We love the songs. We love the music. I'm passionately driven. It's not just a project. It's something that we tend to want to enjoy for many years to come, to make many records. The touring aspect with overlap of schedules would not allow me to always be there. And that's okay. And so it's at times we might have, if the band's got to get out and play and do things, I've encouraged it for the band, for the music, that if I can't be there, we need to put somebody in there and do it. And so that is part of the plan. We're going to do as much as we can on our own. Mark's pretty busy in the film work. He does a show with Steve Porcaro's the music director for a show called Justified on FX.
Yeah.
And Mark does all the guitars. That's all Mark and Steve. And so they're in their 5th season. So, everybody has commitments, so to speak. So we're just trying to fulfill, like right now I'm off through the 3rd week of January, and we pick it back up, and then we'll go through September, October, and then we're taking 6 months off. So
wow,
it's going to be a little bit of a slow build. We have to understand certain things about the climate, you know what I mean, and doing something like this. So I think we all get it enough to where, that, again, it's been sitting on the shelves for a while, and then the fact that we got it picked up and we have it out now, and we finished the record, and now we'll just try to put some shows together. We have done some live shows, and it's a great live band as well.
Yeah, I can imagine that it would be great. I mean, I've seen you with Tesla, and that's one thing I want to get to is Tesla is, there was this whole thing in the 80s about the hair bands, and then after that there was, well, they don't have, but Tesla never sort of fit into the hair band thing. And I think it was really because of the strength of the songs and the strength of the performance. It was very, very meat and potatoes, right? There's not a lot of extraneous flashiness. It's really just about the guys on stage and the quality of the music. So, what is going on with Tesla right now? Off the road for a little bit and then back up. Is it Tesla you're going out with in January?
Yeah, Jeff just had a hip replacement.
Really?
So
wow.
Yeah, and he's off. So he's in recovery mode. He's doing well, and we planned this, and we knew that we would be off and take 3-4 months off, which we've done, and now that will put us to the 3rd week of January. We pick it back up. We go off for 3 weeks, come home for 3 weeks, go do another run for 3 weeks. We're going to be out through.
September or October?
September, October, yeah. And then we're planning on taking 6 months off. And something very nice just came down the pike that we can't discuss at this point, but I can't wait to be able to share it. God willing, everything will continue to move forward as we plan it. There's always the unforeseen. But so far, those are our plans as a group and schedule. And then I think at that point we may even start on another record. I don't know. There's been talk about that as well, but we don't plan on letting up. We plan on continuing to work and play and make music and do as much touring as we can and do the things that make sense, without burning ourselves and our fans out.
Let me ask you about the making of new music, or just the making of music. I mean, if you look back over the last 6, 7 years. There's Reel to Reel Volume 1 and 2, A Piece of Time, Simplicity, Twisted Wires, Forevermore, Into the Now, the Alive albums. You guys never stop working, and yet you could very easily just never make any new music and play clubs and play all the hits. What keeps you inspired and wanting to move forward?
Well, first of all, I think we love making music and putting new music out for our fans, and it would seem a little self-serving and selfish, and I think I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about the guys, but I mean, and I love it because Frank is always the advocator. Let's get in, let's make another record,
Right. Because you could do the Mechanical Resonance album tour and sell out shows. I mean, people would...
there's so many things we can do, and I think we should look at some of that stuff maybe a little bit later, maybe before we put out another record. And maybe that's the kind of thing maybe we should think about for maybe, 16.
Right.
But those are great concepts and thoughts. I mean, even the whole reel-to-reel thing was so cool.
Yeah.
But there's lots of fun things. We've got the acoustic stuff, and, back to the question, I mean, I think... We enjoy putting out new music. I think it's healthy for us to do that, not just ride on the laurels of what we've had.
Right.
And I would like to think that the music we're putting out is of some quality.
Absolutely.
And that the records, I mean, we don't just put out a record for the sake of putting out a record. We really, I mean, I know everybody, probably, cares about the music they put out. I'm not speaking for myself, but I just know that when we get a chance to put out new music, even though you're not playing the whole record, you get a chance to play a little bit of new music and incorporate that into the show, So, I don't know. I think we're always, as long as people are interested, and they seem to be, our fans anyway, and they seem to be appreciative when we do it. So,
oh, absolutely.
Seems to make sense,
As you go on and add an extra year to the band's existence, does it get more difficult though to write new music, because you're always going to have the fans that say, "Well, it doesn't sound like the Great Radio Controversy." Well, it doesn't sound. No,
I don't. We don't. We certainly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We certainly do not write from that perspective.
Okay.
We go in, we're never thinking, we're going to redo this or redo that, or we're just going in and being moved and motivated as we always have. We just get in, write songs. We get in a room, we get ideas together. Things have changed. There have been, Forevermore was a bit different because we wrote that record in the studio.
Right.
And it was never finished until it was finished, until we, it was done recorded. This record, this last record,
right? Simplicity.
Simplicity was actually flushed out with writing, pre-production, and then go in and record the records, and basically record a song a day was basically how we were doing it. We finished that whole song, go to the next song, kind of thing. And that's kind of what we did. Not all the vocals went down that way, but for the most part, the music did. And it was very inspired, and we just had a lot of fun with it. And Zutap produced it. And we let him really tell us yes and no. I mean, there's no quantizing on the tracks. There's no samples. There's no gridding of Pro Tools.
Right.
We treated it just like a tape machine and recorded live, And I think it translates, Michael Wagner, very old school, mixed it,
Oh, absolutely. Do you go back to the earlier stuff before you go into the studio? Like before Simplicity gets made, do you say, "Okay, everybody, let's go home and listen to Psychotic Summer"?
No, God, no.
No. Okay.
Nope, we do not.
Okay. That's interesting. And so now that you've done Saville Row and Tesla's got some plans coming up, any other bands that you're going to be working with in the near future that you're going to lay some drums down for?
Oh, I'm in Nashville, so I've been actually real busy. You can look up Trey Michaels, Tre.
Yeah.
Michaels, and on YouTube, the official video is called Free, Free Wheelin', Freewheelin', and it's me, Rudy Sarzo, Sparky from Skinner, and Kenny Olson from Kid Rock, and Trey. with a band on his
Video.
Trey is Conway Twitty's grandson.
Nice.
And that's kind of like a southern hard rock thing. It's very cool. That's out. I just did Jake Clayton's new record. That record's coming out, I think, any time. I've done his first and second record. His first record's kind of a bluegrass, but drums and instrumental. This new record he just put out. You can look that up, jakeclayton.com, JakeClayton.com, and you'll see a video of me in H.E.A.T. It's called H.E.A.T, H-A-Y. And, you know, I did a little fun video with him.
Okay.
And there's Trey's thing we did in the studio. There's clips of video from that. I've been very active, you know. I Jeff LaBar, I worked with him on his solo project. So if you listen to his EP, the first track out of the gate is me on that. And you know, and I've been doing a bunch of country stuff out here, you know. And you know, I mean, there's really quite a laundry list of things that I keep active and playing on. And so, I mean, you know, I probably should put a website together, and I really don't even do too much with all of that in the social media, and I've never been a guy to do a lot of interviews. And back in the day, I never even wanted to do interviews, you know. But now I'm actually enjoying doing them now. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But,
well, and of course, well, I think we should mention that you also played on the A World with Heroes Kiss tribute, which was very important to me, that project. And the song you played, it just sounded great. Everybody on there just sounded great. It was, you know, so well done.
Yeah, that was another great project. Yeah, absolutely. And these are things that are near and dear to my heart. You know, I mean, you just continue to play and do things for all the right reasons. I'm fortunate enough to have a job, so to speak. So Tesla allows me, you know, it's not always about money. It's just always about the music for me. You know, certain jobs I'll get paid. Certain jobs I just do, and I do. You know, and that's whatever.
Are there
just like last week? I just got back from California. It was just me and the guitar player for Sammy Hagar, Vic Johnson, Keith St. John, and Chuck Wright on bass, and we just went and we did the full. We're in San Jose. We did a one-off. I flew in, no rehearsals. We did a 90-minute set. We did the first Montrose album, part of the second Montrose album. It's in classics. And I'll tell you what, the band was smoking great. It was a lot of fun. And, I mean, it was like we've been playing together for 20 years. I mean, it was really, really good. I mean, I think we all really surprised ourselves, and we opened up and we jammed it. Everybody had their homework. It was just a lot of fun. And those are wonderful things that just kind of keep you on the edge of your seat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Keith is a vocal monster. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And Chuck just...
Yes, and he did such a beautiful job at this show and told great stories. And, yeah, we need to probably get that thing out there, too, when you go out and have some fun. And that could come together again. But, yeah, I love to play. I love to drum. I'm still in the studies phase, you know, in the sense that, you know, I still got books, I teach, and, you know, getting back, firing up my teaching, and just all of it, you know. I'm just going to continue to do it as long as I can.
You know, and, you know, we'll direct people to SavileRowMusic.com, but I'll end with this. Is there any style of music that you simply don't want to play or can't play? Just say, listen, I know you want me on your disco record. I just can't do it. I'm not that kind of drummer.
No, disco record, not a problem.
You'll try anything.
You know, I think I can add flavor and I can make a few things. I'm not a jazz drummer, but, you know, somebody will listen to me on a record and they'll go, I didn't know you play jazz. And I'm like, well, I really don't, you know.
But you would do it if asked.
But I swing, you know what I mean? I'm a closet jazz guy, so I'll sit and play, you know. So if I had to learn a jazz piece, I can play and I can swing and I can do those things. You know, I love Latin jazz. I love Latin Afro-Cuban. Do I play that stuff well? No. Can I play some grooves and some pieces? Yeah, sure. But I'm never going to be those guys. That's what they do, you know. So I know where my limitations are, and depending on you know, the flavor, of the record, whether if it was a real authentic piece, they're not going to call me to begin with. They're going to get a real authentic Afro-Cuban drummer. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if they say, hey, man, we want this to have an Afro-Cuban flavor, or, we want this to have a New Orleans flavor, I know what they're talking about. If they want a Texas train shuffle, or they, I know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So I know a straight-up shuffle. So these are all, if we need a bossa nova, we need songo, these are styles that I think everybody should try to have a little bit of an understanding with as a player. I mean, that it just helps. It doesn't mean you have to be exactly that guy, but if you have an understanding, it can help you go into a situation like I did for three. There's a show that they ran, and it doesn't run anymore. The KLOS Christmas show, the Mark and Brian show. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Well, that was a 4-hour show, and 3 of those years I drummed and was the house drummer, and we back up everybody. And one of these sessions, one of these shows, we were backing up one of the artists. It was Stephen Bishop, and I remember him coming in, and the way you do it's a 4-hour show. The day before you rehearse all the artists, you got the house band. It's me, Mark, Steve Porcaro, Leland Sklar, Ronnie Montrose. We were we've been even back Ronnie up. We did Glenn Hughes. We did White Snake, David Coverdale. It's just all these wonderful different artists you get to play behind. So it's really fun. But you do an hour. Everybody gets an hour to rehearse. The artists come in an hour. But Stephen Bishop come in and he says, I want this song to be a little bit more reggae. Let's put a reggae feel in the chorus. And I'm thinking, okay, so I mean, the way the bass drum falls, that falls on beat 3, So I'm not a reggae drummer, but I got to make it feel like a reggae drummer, you know what I mean? Just give it, I played, I gave him what he wanted. I wasn't even sure if I was in the ballpark, but he never said a word. We played the show. It was fine. The music was fine. It had just enough of what he wanted, and it was okay.
It was good. So you'll show up to the ballpark if invited, basically.
If invited, I will show up, and I also know if I'm not the right guy, and I get a phone call for the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas, if you've seen it.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, the music director for that was James Newton Howard, and his right hand to that was a guy named Michael Mason, who called me and worked with me a lot, or seen me a lot in the studio, a friend of mine. And he calls me and says, how's your reading? I says, well, what do you got in mind? He says, well, I want you to come in, and I'm, 100-piece orchestra, James Newton Howard, thought you would be perfect for this. I said, well, I got to be honest with you, I'm going to pass, and I'm not going to waste their time. I knew I couldn't do it. The Keith Emerson thing was laid out a little different with the orchestra. I had some time to prep. I didn't have to go in and just read everything. So it was a different animal, but I do know when to say, no, you better call somebody else.
Yeah, you see, so there you go. Troy, always a pleasure.
Back at you, man.
And,
I appreciate you, Mitch. It's been great. A lot of great years we've had.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I put in the Saville Row into my iTunes, and at night when I get up here and I start typing, answering emails, and I just put it on the headphones, and it's just so soothing. It just puts you in a really pleasant headspace. So, thank you for that. Thank you and the band for that. It's just such a good album to put you in a good mood. So
you do like it?
Oh, absolutely. Excellent.
I know it's not a full rock thing, but I know it's a little different for people, but we like it.
Yeah, if you're a diehard Tesla fan and you're expecting it to be a Tesla album, then look, go put Simplicity or Mechanical Resonance on. But if you're looking for a really well put together album, the instrumentation is really well thought out, and it just puts you in a good mood, then definitely give it a try, because it's a really I don't want to just say fun album, because that almost sounds like a flippant remark, but it's really well done. It puts you in a good mood,
Yeah, and it is. It's a bit crafty, but not too smart. But yeah. I'm glad you like it, and appreciate all the support. We can use it, and hopefully there'll be more.
Absolutely. There you go. That was my interview with Troy Luccketta of Tesla, and of course his new band Saville Row. Doesn't mean Tesla's over. It just means that he had a little time on the side to do this other project. But now we will turn our attention to one of these up-and-coming bands. Certainly up-and-coming in North America. The band is H.E.A.T, fronted by Erik Grönwall, who was, yes, folks, a Swedish Idol winner. And, when you hear the word Swedish Idol, American Idol, Canadian Idol, the purists in the rock fans go, oh, no, no, no. But the band's great. The band is really great, and Erik does a great job with them. Troy, I was going to call you Troy. Russ,
Yes.
when you hear that somebody has won one of these Idol shows, whether it's Sweden or Canada or Portugal, for whatever it matters, does that bother you? Does that not even play a part? Does it have any reaction to it?
At this point, I don't know. I don't really care. You know
Right.
what I mean? But to each his own. If to get out there, and it's a different world than when we started. You used to have to have a lot of money to go and record a record and blah blah blah. Now, you can see millions of people if you get on one of these shows in a night. So, more power to you. Do what you got to do, and if you love doing it, and just because you win one of these shows doesn't mean it's a given that you're going to be some superstar or something too, right? No matter what you do in this business, I think you have to go through the ringer.
Had it been around in the early 80s, would you have been a participant in one of these shows?
Highly unlikely.
Yeah?
We always were asked to do some of radio stations back in the olden days used to do this, send in your demo and be on this album and be number one, and we were asked a couple of times, and I thought the stuff was kind of fixed too, because we couldn't get any attention on this. I won't even mention who it was, but they basically said, okay, do you want to win this contest this year? It was, they were going to make us win, and it wasn't a competition. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? It seems to be waning a bit. I think they're losing the attention that they once had.
Yeah.
But
and I don't want to focus too much also on this Idol stuff, because Erik is a great singer. I mean, if you go to YouTube and you check out the H.E.A.T videos, he delivers the goods. I mean, the albums are fun too. In 2012, it was his first album with the band, because he did replace their previous lead singer, Kenny Lacrimo, if I can say that correctly. And it received a 98% rating on melodicrock.com. And then their new album this year's Tearing Down the Walls. If you check the reviews out there, I've been seeing a lot of 9 on 10s, a lot of 10 on 10s, and it's just fun music. It has that sort of Swedish bent, it's kind of like Europe, but for the 2000s or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
Just fun stuff, and Erik was a pleasure to speak with. So, I'm hoping by doing this that folks in North America will discover H.E.A.T, will check out their videos on YouTube, and will certainly purchase the albums. And if you haven't heard Tearing Down the Walls, it's just a great, fun, melodic hard rock album that sort of stretches somewhere between what Journey does, mixed in with what Europe does, mixed in with what Bon Jovi does. It's
good. Have fun.
Fun album. So
rock and roll, baby.
Why don't we sit back and listen to Erik Grönwall talk about Swedish Idol, H.E.A.T, Tearing Down the Walls, and their upcoming live album, Live in London. Here's Erik. We are speaking with Erik Grönwall of H.E.A.T, one of Sweden's best bands. That's about right.
Well, I like that introduction. Sounds good.
That's how we say it. You're definitely, listen, if we're sitting in North America, Montreal, and we've heard about the band, it's because you're doing something right.
All right, yeah, cool, man. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I would say ABBA is actually better, but yeah, well, I like what I'm hearing.
So let's talk about joining the band H.E.A.T. You came on in 2012 for the Address the Nation album. You had been, for the lack of a better word, you were a solo artist before having come off of Swedish Idol.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to join the band?
Well, I've always played in bands, and I've always been, like a front man in
Right.
bands. So doing the idol thing was actually the first time for me as a solo artist,
Okay.
and it was something new to me, and I didn't really feel comfortable with it. So when the band asked me to join, it felt very natural, and yeah, and that was in 2010. So just came very natural, and I knew that I wanted to do it, and that's where I started when I started playing music.
When the band decides to, their singer leaves and they decide to get a new guy, when they look at a guy from Swedish Idol, is there any kind of negativity to it? They go, oh, well, he's the guy from the TV show. Was there any kind of negative press, negative reaction to that?
Oh yeah, I mean some fans and some media didn't like it at all,
Right.
and I guess I had a lot of eyes on me, like how is this guy gonna pull it off?
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually the hardest thing I've ever done so far in my music career. I mean, it's been a challenge, and but I mean it worked out pretty okay, I think, and it was hard in the beginning because the band already had fans
Right.
that who like the former singer, and I'm the new guy, and I have to to make a statement like this is better than before. And that's what I had to do. I mean, I had to do my kind of thing, and yeah.
Yeah. Now, you were born in 87, and a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff that you did on Idol and a lot of the music that you cut your teeth on is Kiss, Skid Row, Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
How did you get into those bands? Was it something from your father? Was it something from a sibling? How did you get into those bands?
I think it was my brother actually, because he had the Appetite for Destruction album
Right.
by Guns N' Roses,
Great album.
and I remember listening to that, and also a lot of Queen.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's where it started, and then I just started playing in bands. And I remember my drummer, he was into AC/DC, so I started listening to AC/DC, and then I met a guitar player, which I formed my first metal band with, and he was into Slipknot, Slayer, Pantera, Metallica, all that
Right.
heavier shit. So yeah, I guess it's just came very natural. I mean, from my brother, and then started playing music with friends, and it's. I guess that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Now, of course, you've got a live album coming out in February, live in London.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the album. Where was it recorded? I mean, is it actually a live show, or is it a collection of different songs from different artists, or is it?
No, it is a live show. It's from the Live in London show.
Okay.
We did I think it's from the London show in May, or is it April? I'm not sure, but it's a touring down
Earlier
the
this
walls.
year. Right.
Yeah, this year. So it's pretty new, and we didn't really think it would happen because we had a lot of problems with the technical problems, and we didn't really think it would become an album because it sounded awful before our sound engineer or studio guy Tobias Lindell started mixing it. But now it sounds amazing, and I'm really looking forward to the release.
Yeah, and now, of course, on the release, you go back and you're going to play some of the songs that featured the former singer on the original albums.
Yeah.
Do you go back and try to put your voice on that, or is it more like, okay, let me try to give them what he was doing? How did you approach those songs?
It was hard in the beginning because I thought that people wanted me to sound like Kenny, the former singer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a great singer. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the guy, but I noticed that it was actually, I think the fans liked it even more when they heard a new singer perform those songs compared to me trying to be the former singer, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And we've had a lot of requests from fans, and they want to hear the old songs with me on vocals.
Right.
So this is a great opportunity with the live album, because we play a lot of the songs from the first and second album. So for all the fans who want to hear me on vocals, the old songs with me on
With you.
vocals, it's a great opportunity.
Now, like I said before, Address the Nation came out in 2012, and it was your first album with the band, and there were certain expectations. Now, Tearing Down the Walls, though, you're getting into the second album. Do you approach it differently, because you sort of paid the price on the first one, and now you get, okay, now I can really be Erik on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I guess it's more relaxed. I mean, now I know the guys, and I know our fans, and we've been out playing. I mean, this will be the third European tour we do, and I mean, when we recorded Address the Nation, it was, I was new in the band, and I didn't really know the band. I mean, we've only rehearsed, and we did a few shows. I replaced Kenny on a few shows in 2010, but when we released Address the Nation, we hadn't really been out playing together.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess I felt a lot more comfortable with a band and as a singer and frontman on Tearing Down the Walls compared to Address the Nation. So I think everything was a lot smoother, and the songwriting was, it was smoother.
It was a lot smoother.
Yeah.
The band is doing well in Europe. You've had European tours, like you've mentioned. You're obviously doing well in Sweden. What do you think it's going to take to break the band in North America? And is that something that you even care about? I mean, does playing... Okay, so is there a plan? How do you attack our market?
Well, we need requests. That's
right.
What we need. We need people to... I think the music industry, the record labels and the radio station, I think that's pretty dead. Right. Our kind of music is pretty dead in North America. And... we just need a lot of requests from fans. We played our first show in the States, in Chicago, just a few months back.
Right.
And it was a lot better than I thought it would be. It was the first show, so I didn't expect that much. And we just, our record label, we're looking for a license deal now in the States. And also we just got a new merchandise label, which we signed with 2 weeks ago, and I should know their name, but I don't.
You've forgotten the name.
I just saw the contract, but yeah. So we're working on it, and of course we wanna be able to tour North America. I think the best thing for us would be to find to be the opening act for a big band.
Right.
And just play. That's what you need to do. Tour a lot.
Yeah, you really need to do that. Now, let's go back to the Swedish Idol days. How was that process? Is it actually a real process where fans really vote, or is it more of a TV show where there really is sort of a script and it's not as honest as people think?
I would say both. There's a lot of things you're not allowed to do. You get a list of songs that you get to choose from, and if someone picks the same song, then you have to vote about it. And it's a blessing and a curse.
Right.
It's good publicity, and I wouldn't be in the band if it wasn't for it. But there's a lot of rules you have to follow, and the media, all the media, which is very new to you because you haven't been in the business at all. And it's not really the music business, because it's more like a TV show. It's more like, I don't know if you guys have Big Brother and all that shit.
Yeah, we have. Well, listen, I think America is where a lot of this stuff comes from. With the X Factor and Big Brother and all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's a reality show, so it's not the music business. And I mean, it's a reality show. It's just like Big Brother. It's just that they don't have cameras in the shower, if you know what I mean. It's
Well, they almost do, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know, when you put out the first album, just the self-titled Erik Grönwall, and you've got all those cover songs on it, is that sort of the first album you wanted to make, or is that sort of what they say, listen, this is what you got to do?
Both. I mean, I wanted to. I was very comfortable with the cover songs as a first album because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my own songs and
Right.
how I wanted to sound as a solo artist. So that was pretty comfortable to me. But yeah, I didn't have any choice
Right.
because I signed the contract.
And then you get into the second album, Somewhere Between a Rock and a Hard Place.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that album is softer than what you really are. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem to really rock.
That's correct.
Tell me about putting that album together. Is it just a whole bunch of writers and they say, listen, go sing this, my young fellow? Or do you have any creative control?
Well, they wanted. I mean, the record label wanted me to have more control, and they told the media that this year the Idol winner will be able to write his own songs, and it will be a lot better than earlier years. And so I did have the chance to write songs, but I mean they're still working on a schedule, so it's like you have like 2 or 3 months to work on that album. But I like a few songs on that album. One song that Joey Tempest wrote, and
Right.
another song Paul Stanley wrote another song for the album. So I kind of felt like I was collecting names more than songs.
Yeah, and actually, I wanted to ask you about Timeless and Take Me On.
Yeah.
How does Paul Stanley write a song for you? Is he approached for this album, or was it a song that he had in a pile somewhere?
No, I think he had it in a pile somewhere.
Okay.
To be honest, I think so. But for me, it was great publicity here in Sweden. It was like, yeah, Paul Stanley from Kiss is writing songs for Erik Grönwall, the Swedish guy, Swedish Idol winner. So it was, yeah.
But you have a special connection to Kiss. You did shout it out loud.
Yeah.
People have described you as being a charismatic hard rock frontman in the style of Paul Stanley. What is it about Kiss that, and of course Sweden and Kiss seems to have this love affair going back to the 70s. What is it with you and Kiss?
Wow. I guess it comes from the guitar player I mentioned earlier, my friend, which I formed my first metal band with. He gave me the Kiss, the Destroyer album,
Right.
in as a Christmas present, and that's when I started listening to it, and I just started playing Detroit Rock City over and over again, and I just loved it. It was like, I guess it was like when it was released. I don't know which year it was, but
76.
it's 76. Okay, yeah, I guess it was kind of the same as for the people who listened to it then.
Right.
It's just I like them. They've survived all the way. The 70s, the 80s, the 90s. A lot of people will call them sellout, but they're still doing it.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
Now, back to Tearing Down the Walls. How long does the tour go on, and when do you start thinking about the next new H.E.A.T album?
We actually started writing new songs
Okay.
for the next album. I think we have about two songs, and we usually have 20 or 30 before we hit the studio.
Wow.
So yeah, we need to write some more songs. The tour will be out for 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
We're leaving 26th of November.
Okay.
And we'll be back 21st of December.
Just in time for the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, fans in North America, where I am, that don't know the band, if you can, in your own words, tell them why they should listen to you.
Well, I think they should listen to H.E.A.T, and they should definitely see a live show, because
Yes.
that's where we put a lot of. I mean, we put a lot of work into the live show, and we really just we're there's a lot of energy, a lot of power, and I promise you, you will like the show. So
Yeah.
listen to our music, come to our show. If you don't like the show, please fuck off.
Yeah, there you go. You see,
Yeah.
and you know, you'll be happy to know that I specifically sought out to talk to you and give some coverage to H.E.A.T because I discovered you by listening to YouTube and all that wonderful stuff, and I think what you do is just fantastic. I mean,
Cool, man.
a
Thanks.
song like A Shot of Redemption is a great song, and I enjoyed it so much that not only did I buy all the albums, I went and bought all the Japanese tour edition albums because I wanted it all.
Wow.
You know,
Cool,
I
man.
definitely
Thanks a
need to
lot.
have it all.
Really appreciate that support.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully this interview will also help shed some more light onto the band for people that are not in Europe.
Yeah, I hope so.
Any more solo records in the offing? Is Erik Grönwall the solo artist still exist, or is that sort of?
I think he's dead. I think he's
dead.
Yeah, for now. Yeah, I really enjoy what we're doing with H.E.A.T, and I also I can notice. I mean, there's a lot of more people coming to the shows every year, and I mean, I think we're growing as a band, and I think we're getting better. So it's too much fun to release a solo album now.
Is there less pressure on you being in a band than solo? Because when you're solo and Somewhere Between a Rock and a Hard Place comes out, it is all you. And if it's great, it's all you. And if it fails, well, guess what? It's all you. Is there less pressure in a band?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're 5 guys in the band, and we make the decisions together. So we take all the good and negative criticism together.
So you're definitely more comfortable in the band situation.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't make good decisions.
None at all, right?
No.
But of course, hey, listen, you made some good decisions by using a Joey Tempest. Now, for a while, you were both on Ear Music. I don't know if Europe still is, but what's it like working with him? Because he's sort of, and I don't want to insult Joey, but he's like the grandfather of Swedish rock, right? I mean, he's been at it so long. What's it like?
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's not an insult. No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, well, working with him, I mean, we didn't do the co-write together. I mean, he wrote the song, and then it got sent to me via our manager.
Right.
We had the same manager. But Joey, he's a great guy. I mean, we played a few shows together. I mean, Europe and H.E.A.T at different festivals around the world, and he always just he can't find the word. Sorry. He's always can't find a word. But he's a great guy, and he comes to us before the shows, and he just tells us that to have a good time, and you know his.
Yeah, he's very inspirational. Because, you know, Europe is an interesting band in the sense that what they did in the 80s was good, but what they've done since they've reunited 5 or 6 or 10 years ago is better. I mean, it's one of these 80s bands that has, as years have gone by, have gotten better, not worse. So kudos to them. And
and they really took a different direction. I mean, some bands are just out there playing the same old songs they've been playing for 30 years, but they started writing new songs, and they took a different direction with this kind of bluesy rock thing.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Now, I can see that our time that we were given, 20 minutes, is up. But let's just remind folks to head out to heatsweden.com. Pick up all the albums, but especially Tearing Down the Walls. It is fantastic. It truly is a fantastic album, and I think if anybody likes hard rock or melodic hard rock, whether you're in Sweden or in Chicago, like you said before, I think fans are just going to dig it. So
and make sure to find us a promoter, and we'll be in Canada and we'll be in North America very soon.
hey, listen, I know a ton of promoters, but I'll tell you what, I will find you the promoter as soon as I can get a copy of the first Erik Grönwall CD, because I've been looking forever, because
I don't even have that,
I
man.
know.
I don't even.
eBay doesn't have it. I'm so disappointed.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
there you go. No, absolutely, will do whatever I can to support H.E.A.T. I love supporting new music, and I think what you guys are doing is for the lack of a better word, just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It
It's
makes
fun,
you
man.
smile,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah,
there you go.
Cool. Thanks a lot, man.
Erik, been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure, man. Take care. Hope to see you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Tack.
Bye.
Bye-bye. There you have it, folks. My interview with Erik Grönwall of Swedish band H.E.A.T. New album is Tearing Down the Walls, live in London, coming out in February. Please check out both. And, of course, Russ, always a pleasure. And you know what? Check out Russ on the A World with Heroes Kiss tribute EP, available now on iTunes, Doing Nothing to Lose, Come On and Love Me.
Yes.
You also were on the A World with Heroes album, all that on iTunes. And, of course, check out Killer Dwarfs. Anything Killer Dwarfs is worth checking out.
Awesome. Oh, we had so much fun doing that Kiss stuff.
Yeah, and it turned out really great. Really great for a good cause, the palliative care home in Hudson, Quebec. But better yet, if you are a promoter, bring Russ to your town.
Yes, bring me to your town. And preferably by the equator.
Well, yeah, by the equator, but knowing how things are, you will probably be playing the American naval base in Antarctica at some point.
Yeah, that's the way it usually goes for me, but you know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do.
Right, you know. There'll be a Killer Dwarfs gig in Nunavut, or in Nuuk, Greenland coming up. So there you go.
You know what?
You know, but always a pleasure. Don't be a stranger. Let's do more of these fabulous episodes.
You too, buddy. Well, I'm home for a while, so let's definitely hook up and do this, man.
Yeah, and of
love
course,
doing it.
Check us out on Twitter at RUSS DWARF, and of course at Mitch Lafon. My Facebook is facebook.com/ go to mitch.lafon. Come over to the private page and have some private discussions about rock and roll. Mm-hmm. And check out the Killer Dwarfs on Facebook. You'll get to know their touring itinerary. And hey,
do it.
You can contact the band through there, send them a message, tell them how much you love them and how much you'd love them to play your town.
Always, yes.
Always. That's all, folks. Thank you, Russ.
Thank you, Mitch.